So there's one way that I found to heal from the narcissistic psychopath, because they put on a fake face, right? They have to. Every time you've ever dealt with one, it's fake. And then when you see behind the mask, you run. But it takes a while to get over that. So here's the secret to bypass that. So once you see that person's a liar, fake, player, con artist, game, whatever they are, disconnect. And you know they're going to reconnect, right? You know they're going to reconnect because that's their hoovering thing. They hoover. And so when they reconnect, say, look, we can talk, and what you do is you talk to them and get to know them. Let them reveal what they really are. You know, you already know they're going to contradict, they're going to lie, they're going to gaslight. So you get to know the real person because you had enough time to step back and reevaluate. So then what you do is when they come back, and they always do, get to know the real person. And then you'll get to the point where you just listen, let them talk. Let them talk. Let them talk about their family, let them talk about their job, let them talk about their coworkers, let them talk about everything. And then their struggles, whatever. And then you'll get to know the real person, and you won't like that person. And you'll say, oh, this is the real person. I don't even like that person. And then it either slowly fades or it just goes cut off, and you're healed because you saw the real person behind the mask. Because that fake reality image that they put out there was just, it wasn't even real. I'm not saying get back with them, but talk to them as like you were talking to a friend or a family member or whatever. And just observe, just like with your family, you know, they would call and say, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, in your mind, you're like, you know, you've said this 1,000,000 times. I've heard this 1,000 times. Haven't you overcome that yet? Why are you still talking about the same old junk, you know? Why aren't you doing something constructive? Why aren't you building something? Why aren't you helping somebody or filling your time at night? Your mind goes, why don't you get you a second job at night so your mind ain't crazy sitting there spinning, you know? You get to know the real person, and then you don't even like that person. Then it's easy just to walk away. You're healed because you saw. The only reason you don't heal because you're still believing that lie, that facade. And then when you see the real person, you're like, oh, they're sick. They're sick. Let them go. You don't even like them anymore. You'll get to a point where you don't even like them. Because how do you like a liar, a user, abuser, a player, how do you like that kind of person? You can't. You don't hate anybody. You feel sorry for them, really. The devil's deceived them, the system, the music, their family, their bloodline, the culture. They've been deceived by the culture and the family, and it's like, oh, they're not even a real person. They're just running on a program. When you realize the narcissistic Jezebel psychopath's running on a program, you're not even talking to a human. You're talking to a program. They can't think outside the culture, you know. And the only way a person's going to think, if you think about it, the Bible's written for every culture, right? No matter what culture you go to, the Bible applies. So the way to think outside the culture is saturates yourself with the word. Because if your culture is brainwashing you, you need something outside the culture to be free. And that's the Bible. And just sometimes I laugh because I think about what somebody said or some kind of weird situations that I've seen in somewhere. And it's like, and I look back at the past and I laugh and I'm thinking, they don't even know what they were facing off with. They have no clue.